Tonight on Connecticut's news station, the state telling commuters to speak up or put up when it comes to train schedule cuts in Fair Heights. We'll take you to a public hearing where residents could weigh in.
Lock your guns up.
A teenager is fighting for his life after accidentally shooting himself in the head. And the gun that was used was not the only one in the house. The calls tonight for safe storage.
Not only a well-deserved dry stretch of weather, but it's getting warm too. Your forecast coming up.
And as we head into the colder months, a new law declares homelessness a public health crisis. We're talking to the people impacted about why this legislation is so important to them.
Now at 10, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
We begin tonight in New Haven, where some people are concerned about potential changes to local bus and rail services. Thanks for joining us on the news at 10. I'm Sarah Sanchez.
And I'm Brent Harden. The first of several public hearings was held tonight to hear from the people those changes would impact before a final decision is made. Fox 61's Gabby Molina is live at Union Station in New Haven with those details. Gabby?
Brent and Sarah, under that proposal, the fares on Metro North, CT Rail's Hartford line, and Shoreline East would increase by about 4.5%. There would also be some changes to some bus service. It would involve adding new routes and discontinuing others. But here along the shoreline, a lot of the conversation tonight was about the trains and what impact those changes would have. Proposed changes to rail service in Connecticut have many who depend on the trains feeling concerned.
The specific trains I use on a regular basis are proposed to be eliminated.
The Connecticut Department of Transportation is proposing cuts to service on the New Haven line, New Canaan line, Danbury line, and to the Shoreline East, which would go from 23 to 16 trains.
Cutting services will effectively be the end for Shoreline East, putting this part of the state at an even greater disadvantage than wealthier areas like Fairfield County.
The DOT says the changes come from the state budget passed by lawmakers and signed by the governor earlier this year, and that it's reflective of current ridership levels.
We're certainly seeing lots of people utilize public transportation throughout Connecticut. The days of the week and the times of the day, that's where things have changed.
Monday evening was the first of 4 public hearings being held this week about the issue, where people have the chance to learn more about the potential changes and share their concerns.
We are a public service, and in order to most effectively run a public service, you need customer input.
Those who spoke out against the proposal say the problems with it range from inconveniences related to the schedule to major life impacts for those who depend on the service.
A lot of people who have to get to work with disabilities and stuff like that, they have less options and they're going to be stranded.
And advocates for public transportation worry that impacts could be far-reaching.
This isn't just a ridership issue, which is big enough in itself, but now the area employers, Yale, it could be Pfizer, Electric Boat, anyone up and down the shoreline that is trying to recruit people, that's a problem.
But the plan is not final quite yet.
Even though the budget was passed, they can still do a little moving around of resources and stuff, so it's important for people to show up, have their voices heard.
Now, in a statement tonight, the governor's office said in part, the budget supports rail service that reflects current demand in light of more people working remotely, and said Shoreline East ridership is only about 30% of what it was pre-pandemic. Now, there will be another in-person public hearing held tomorrow in Hartford, but there are several other ways that you can submit comment to the DOT. We have details on how to do that on our website, fox61.com. Live in New Haven, Gabby Molina, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, Gabby, thank you so much. Turning to the weather now, and a much-needed break from the rain means we can really enjoy the first full week of October here in Connecticut. And look what has finally appeared. A little bit of fall color here, the foliage on full display in Morris this morning.
It is beautiful. Also making it a beautiful week. A rare end of season heat, and we are not complaining here. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank. Rachel.
Yeah, we would have settled for just dry at this point. That's a huge win, but for it to also be warm, some of you summer lovers get one last little taste before we slip back into fall weather. Tomorrow's high temperature is going to be up around the 80-degree mark, within a couple degrees of the daily record high temperature, just to give you some context as to how warm that is for this time of year. And even along the shoreline will be within a few degrees of the record. But we're going to continue to see these really comfy evenings where it still feels like fall in the morning, but warms up as we head through the afternoons. What you're looking at here is forecast visibility. There could be some areas of patchy fog first thing tomorrow morning. Other than that, any early fog breaks for sunshine as that visibility improves, but I wanted to give you a heads up, and you can always check in with the morning show crew tomorrow. Tonight, we're looking at overnight lows around 50 degrees, a bit cooler for Windham and also Putnam in the mid to upper 40s as we head towards daybreak. There's that fog breaking for sun, warm and pleasant in the afternoon with lots of sunshine. And if you're thinking, oh man, this looks really nice, and you got stuff to do tomorrow, we get to do this all over again for Wednesday, and then we'll start to mix things up as we head towards the end of the week. And of course, we have to talk about, more rain in the forecast down the line. Your full forecast coming up.
All right, Rachel, we'll see you in a bit. Thank you. Well, new at 10 tonight, a Hartford man is in the hospital after getting shot on Boothbay Street. Police say it happened just before 5 this evening. They responded to a home on Boothbay Street after a shots fired report. And while investigating there, they got a call that a man in his 30s was taken to the hospital. He was suffering from a gunshot wound. He is expected to be okay, and police are still investigating tonight. Also new tonight, a Pawcatuck man was handed a 70-year sentence today for the killing of a Stonington woman back in November of 2019. Carlton Henderson was found guilty back in June of stabbing Brandia Irvin with a kitchen knife. Henderson got away but was found a week later in Norwich. Irvin passed away the next day from her injuries.
Developing in Watertown now, police execute a search warrant and remove more than 20 firearms from a home. And at that home, a 14-year-old boy accidentally shot himself in the head. Connecticut's news station has been following this closely since authorities first responded to the boy's home Saturday afternoon. We've learned the Department of Children and Families is also investigating alongside police. Fox 61's Samaya Hernandez has the latest.
Officials say that 14-year-old boy is critical but slowly recovering in the hospital. They say he was home alone when he began playing with an unsecured weapon. It went off and a bullet pierced his head. Watertown's Oakville neighborhood heartbroken, stunned by what Police Chief Josh Berniger calls a preventable tragedy.
Arriving officers found the boy on the first floor of the residence bleeding heavily from an injury to his head.
Firefighters on scene, doctors at Waterbury Hospital, and now Connecticut Children's, working for more than 2 days to save a 14-year-old boy who was found Saturday conscious but incoherent inside his Hadley Street home.
Officers followed a blood trail up the stairs and into a bedroom.
Hours after the boy's grandmother called 911, Watertown police executed a search warrant recovering 23 weapons from the home,
many of which were unsecured.
I'm now left with a life sentence, and my child is serving a death sentence.
Kristen Song knows all too well the pain that can result when a child gains access to unsecured guns. It's how she lost her son Ethan at his best friend's house nearly 6 years ago, fueling her work that led to Connecticut's Ethan's Law requiring safe storage around minors.
If you are going to bring deadly items into your home, it is your job to make sure that those items are secured.
On Sunday, that law was expanded even further
to require people to safely store their weapons regardless of who's in the home.
The boy reportedly lives with his mother and grandparents. Per statute, the gun owner could be charged.
Our message to every gun owner is this: secure your firearms in accordance with the law.
And according to that law that took effect on Sunday, weapons need to be contained in a container regardless of someone's age who is in that home. Meanwhile, Watertown police tell us that they are working with the state's attorney's office to determine whether or not charges will be filed. In Hartford, I'm Samaya Hernandez, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Also developing tonight, New Haven police are asking for help identifying a person who may be connected to several arsons. Take a look at your screen. Police are looking for this man. He's wanted for questioning. These photos were captured at the scene of one of the incidents. Currently, New Haven police are investigating 2 arson incidents that happened in September, one at the Three Judges Motel and the other at New Haven Inn. They're asking the public for help with any information that could help in their investigation.
The homelessness is now a public health crisis here in Connecticut. A law went into effect Sunday designed to bring more awareness to the issues some people face here in our state.
Fox 61's DeAndrea Turner spoke with those who drafted that law. She joins us in studio with more. DeAndrea.
Well, Brent and Sarah, the big picture under this law is lawmakers want to seek preventable measures when it comes to mental and physical health of those struggling with homelessness. Now, this new law ensures that people without homes receive access to essential medical and mental health care services instead of just emergency medical services.
And I've been homeless here for 2 years.
and it's hard to get back on track again.
Georgia spends many of her days like many other people struggling with homelessness, looking for a place to lay her head at night and searching for her next meal.
I can to try to get some money for food.
This is the second year in a row that more people are reported homeless in Connecticut. Over the past 2 years, the unhoused population has risen nearly 16%. Now homelessness is considered a public health crisis under a new state law that went into effect on Sunday.
Homelessness is preventable and manageable, and the fact that at times we have not put all of our efforts into this, the cost to the society is very high.
Under the new law, the public health crisis will continue until, quote, until the right of homeless persons to receive essential medical and mental health care services is adequately safeguarded and protected.
If we had more help, and they need social workers to help would be massive.
Advocates who work on the front lines to help people like Georgia say housing and health care go hand in hand as tools to stop this public health crisis.
And we have to really figure out, with homelessness being recognized as a public health crisis, how we actually meet people where they are and provide them with what they can to be stable and stay housed. And then on the other side of it, how do we get people into housing and really figure out, you can't uncouple homelessness and the housing crisis.
Now, to put more of this into perspective, there are around 30,000 people on the New Haven Section 8 housing wait list. Many have been there for many years. In the studio, DeAndrea Turner, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Thank you, DeAndrea. The News at 10 is just getting started.